Good morning, Mark Small, and I apologize for the late start with our technical issues, but thank you again for being here this morning on September 13th, 2017.
You're very welcome.
I'm very excited about this daily briefing on U.S. Supreme Court case 16-1464, for which you're the lead counsel. And this morning, I was delighted to find your newest blog post, which I'm showing here on the screen. Kushner, son-in-law in chief, his ties to Russia, and his lies. So take it away.
Okay, well, nepotism is defined as the act of hiring family members in an endeavor, in this instance, government. In past administrations, that was criticized. Most notably, President Kennedy's administration. President Kennedy hired his brother Robert to be his attorney general. Now, in Robert Kennedy's instance, he had graduated from University of Virginia School of Law, which is an excellent law school. He'd served as counsel for a couple of congressional committees. He'd prosecuted people. He had done a lot of things in law. So he's familiar with the office to which he was appointed. Now, in this instance, we have Donald Trump hiring Jared Kushner to be several things. He is he's being appointed as head of the White House Office of American Innovation, whatever that is. He's also being tasked with brokering a peace deal between Israel and Palestine, which is kind of like nobody's been able to do, and nobody knows Kushner's qualifications other than his daddy got him into Harvard and he married Trump's daughter. Now, what's bad is a whole bunch of things. So what are the bad things? One is he's running real estate deals. He was doing it in secondary school and then when he was in college, and he doesn't have any experience in international relations such as those to which he's tasked. But also, when he was being vetted for security clearance, he lied over 100 times about any kind of contacts he had with foreign powers. And those included the June 2016 meeting in Trump Tower, where they were talking about getting dirt on Hillary Clinton's campaign. And to do something like that is illegal. To lie in a federal investigation is illegal. To have foreign assistance and get foreign material benefit is also illegal. I apologize. I have to that's illegal. So you had several things that Jared Kushner is doing illegal, and he was advised by a former FBI agent as to how to answer the security questions, and so it wasn't just kind of like an oversight. He was illegal in his conduct there. So they should investigate him for collusion with Russia, and he denied that he colluded with Russia. But this is something that really hit me was he gave a talk. He read from a prepared statement outside the White House a couple of months ago. And last night on MSNBC, when they were replaying his statement outside the White House, they said it was a rare public statement by Jared Kushner. Here's the thing. He never was elected to anything, and he has no experience in things, but he has so much authority in the White House, and yet it's a rare public appearance. 2 points on that. One is I was reminded of Martin Bormann, whom no one knew outside of circles in the Third Reich. And at the end of the war, he was running operations for the Third Reich. The second thing is that you have this person who has not been elected to anything, popping up, having all of these responsibilities. And they said, the Trump administration is saying he's not subject to these anti-nepotism laws because he's not receiving a paycheck from the federal government. Now, one thing I've learned in life is this. when something is cheap, it usually turns out to cost you a lot of money. And when something is free, it usually ends up costing you the most of all. In this instance, they have people willing to, we're doing this for free. And yet they're running business deals at the same time for Trump Tower properties and other properties, and they're doing trade deals with China. And he didn't reveal that he owes over $1 billion in loans. So all these things toss up red flags. Even further evidence as to why we need an independent investigation of Trump administration ties with Russia.
And then I look at and the fact that he owns building 666 on Fifth Avenue, but that's just my my instinct. But following up on some of the things you mentioned, on top of everything else, with all this corruption and scandal going on, they're throwing shade. Yesterday's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, or Sarah Sanders Huckabee, whatever her name is, was talking about the fact that she said Jim Comey should be investigated.
Well, right? They've been saying that for several months. The reason being that Comey drafted a memorandum to himself about meetings that he had with Donald Trump. And then once he had left office and he was no longer a public servant, he contacted a friend at one of the newspapers and disclosed the notes that he had taken.
Right.
And they're saying that's a violation of the law. Well, at that point, he no longer was a public servant, and so he wasn't subject to any non-disclosure. He wasn't Trump's attorney. He had no relationship like that where he was under a legal obligation to maintain confidentiality of certain communications. And so when they're saying, well, he should be investigated, they've been saying that for several months, and it's hooey.
Right. Well, so to the point, these are Third Reich-like tactics. The fact that they're so shameless about their own behavior that they're going ahead and trying to implicate people who are actually trying to enforce the law, that dances around the point that a lot of people, even in the Democratic Party, don't want to talk about, the Holocaust, or don't want to talk about Hitler because we might offend some people, and it's going to be chaotic. And then they're all talking about 2018. I mean, I saw last night also on MSNBC, the Democrats from North Dakota going to have dinner at the White House. Well, that's because maybe they have a chance to influence things, and it's just the polite thing to do. And I thought, is it really the polite thing to do to go have dinner with a puppet that was installed by a foreign power? And is it really serving our country as the so-called opposition party to be talking about congressional elections in 2018 when the election we just had was absolutely illegitimate? And I was just wondering if you could share with everyone the story you tell. You have various analogies about, letting the crime happen, as it were, and moving on. You have some colorful analogies, and I was wondering if you would share those.
You mean the bank robbers?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, it's okay. Crime's been committed. Here we had stealing the presidency, but let's say that they'd robbed a bank. You wouldn't sit there and say, okay, well, they got the money. They've left the country. They're in some place tropical that's not getting hit by hurricanes right now, and they're enjoying themselves and the money that they got.
And we know where they are.
Yeah, we know where they are. Leave them alone. I mean, really, do we want to go over anything and make it so terrible for everybody else? We're just going to learn from this lesson and move on. And now Mr. Dillinger was the head of that gang. He's going to be running our security operations from now on because he knows about bank robbery. So it's like they're either oblivious to the collusion that occurred or they're complicit. And it's really something that's outrageous and impacts our country significantly today and will in the future.
So you just gave us the theme for today. Let's shout out some big people. Are you oblivious or are you complicit? Right? And you're giving them the opportunity by doing this daily briefing every day to not be oblivious or complicit, right? So
well, at least we are giving them an opportunity to engage in a dialogue that's really crucial. Why, one, are they not responding or addressing these issues? And two, what is the deal with you think that when major media hear that someone has a case pending before the United States Supreme Court, it's set for conference on September 25th, and it asks for a special master to be appointed to conduct an independent investigation, and also for removal of the president and vice president from office because they committed in part treason. You would think that there would be some kind of a story in one of the major outlets, but there has been no coverage.
Yeah, so on that note, are there any journalists that you've been following that you think, if they were to hear you this afternoon, would be capable and willing to have an intelligent dialogue and help get the word out to the American people that yes, there is something you can do, and yes, we can save our democracy just like Kenya did? Are there any journalists you're following that you would like to give a little personal invitation? You know, we'll call their producers, we'll talk to them, we have all their phone numbers and email. They're getting our email every day and they're opening it. So who particularly would you like to speak with?
Well, I won't say anybody in particular. Anybody at this point that would want to interview me and talk with me and engage in conversation with me, I think that'd be fantastic. Nobody has, and I think that's an abdication of the responsibility to report to the American public.
Right, you're not going to praise the work of any particular journalist right now because they're all dropping the ball in terms of going from the problem, which a number of them are laying out, to the actual solution. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. Listen, this has been awesome. And in terms of questions, I'm just going to be brutally honest. I do not want to look at the YouTube screen live right now because it'll cause an audio feedback loop. So I'm going to make sure tomorrow we have someone available there to monitor and send me the questions. But anyone listening right now or to the recording that I'm going to send to all of you, don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact me at 917-523-9163, and I will make sure you have a fast track to Mark Small, lead counsel for U.S. Supreme Court case 16-1464. Mark, do you have any parting words? And you'll be the one to end the conversation.
Just if people who listen to this agree with what we're saying, at the very least, that there should be an independent investigation of ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. Share this with 3 people on Facebook or whatever social medium you're on, and ask them to share with 3 other people in turn, because we need a lot of public awareness and people to really make the justices on the Supreme Court aware of the fact that they need to set a briefing schedule in this case and to have oral argument and to hear this case.
Thank you. Have an awesome day.
You too. Take care.